Social media stocks took it on the chin today on Wall Street after the companies banned President Trump from their platforms following the Capitol siege. Twitter dropped 6%, losing about $5 billion in market value. Other companies also traded lower after taking actions against the president. Snapchat, Pinterest, each traded about 1.5% lower. Facebook dropped 4%, erasing about $34 billion. The debate over free speech and social media is intensifying in this country following Twitter's ban of President Trump's account.
Some conservatives say their voices are being censored by big tech. Fox 10's Justin Lum spoke with a law professor from ASU about First Amendment protections. He joins us live with more. Justin, it gets a little tricky when we're talking about social media platforms.
Well, Christina, John, the First Amendment is strictly relevant to the government. It's a different field of play when you enter social media platforms, even if you are the President of the United States.
But you have to go home now. We have to have peace.
By the time President Trump tweeted this message, the damage had already been done with a deadly riot at the U.S. Capitol. Trump supporters who attended his rally incited to fight for him. Now both Twitter and Facebook have banned the president from their platforms due to the risk of further incitement of violence. Greg Leslie, executive director of the First Amendment Clinic at ASU, says don't get the decision confused with protection under the First Amendment.
The First Amendment stops Congress and the government, basically, from interfering with the right of free speech or freedom of the press.
Leslie explains what the president tells supporters at a rally is handled differently in the social media world.
I think he'd have a pretty good argument that his speech was protected under the First Amendment. It's just that when you move into the private realm of a Twitter, the same rules don't apply.
Bottom line, users must follow the terms of service or get kicked off.
They have the right to ban anyone, so they're clearly within their rights to say, we don't want to be a part of an action like this.
And a quick read of the First Amendment's text specifically says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Private companies aren't mentioned. Leslie says to expect a give and take between platforms and customers.
It's going to be a case-by-case determination, and we're going to probably see some interesting decisions along the way, but there is no hard and fast rule as to what these platforms have to do.
Justin Lum, Fox 10 News.